Screens rule our interactions. It kind of limits our experience of whatever we see on the other end. But in the future, if a buyer is in Los Angeles, a manufacturer is in France, and the parent company is on 7th Avenue, their teleconference call will be a full 3D experience. This is not a Jedi Council fantasy. At Keio University, Professor Susumu Tachi is working on a giant leap in the way we communicate. Something he calls the twister. This huge spinning cylinder is designed to immerse the user in a Star Trek-like holodeck experience.
Twister is the future television,
Okay.
future computer console,
Right.
and future telephone.
The future telephone booth. I love that idea. What does Twister stand for?
Teleexist bilingual immersive stereoscope.
Future spinning stereoscopic telephone booth.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Most computers come with web cameras built in. What is the big advance with teleexistence?
We have the 360-degree panoramic stereo
Right.
image without wearing any special eyeglasses.
This is something I'm going to have to see to believe.
Here in the seat here.
Going up! I like the squeaking sound.
Inside the sleek cylinder of glass and aluminum, I'm surrounded by thousands of visible microchips.
I actually feel like I'm in the future. Whoa, here we go! You have to be a certain height to ride this thing.
As the machine starts up and the cylinder rotates around me, I feel the surreal sensation of leaving the physical world behind.
This is so freaky! Like when I launch into space. Let there be light.
Surrounding me is a vivid, solid-looking landscape I can move through as if I were there.
Oh, wow.
Your TV can't do justice to the genuine 3D images of the Twister.
Nice. I want to actually hang out at this beach. Oh, this is my favorite scene.
Oh, yeah, yes.
What's really cool is I can turn and I see the fish pass me.
And it's just
Whoa!
to be another space.
So I actually feel like I'm teletransporting in that
Yes,
zone.
the teleportation.
The image quality is not great, but the scope and depth of the 3D image is impressive. Here's how the Twister creates 3D without glasses. Vertical LED screens rotate around me at 1.7 revolutions per second. The rotating screens are interrupted by a parallax bar. Each of my eyes picks up one half of the image. The result is a wide-angle stereoscopic 3D image.
We found that with using the mechanical system joined with the computer system, we can have the three-dimensional images.
Ah, so it's adding the computer systems to the mechanics.
Yeah.
Now, can you project forward in time, even farther? 10 years, 15 years, if you can imagine it, even 20 years. What do you hope to see or what do you expect to see out of technology behind Twister?
Yeah, the first one is the communication,
Right.
face-to-face communication.
Okay.
This is what makes the Twister more than a theme park attraction. Professor Tachi plans to add a pair of cameras to record 3D images of you standing inside the machine and relay them to another Twister elsewhere in the world. With 2, 3, or more friends hooked up, a telephone call turns into a teleexistence experience.
This is cool. I'm like selecting different journeys, and I'm in an amusement park.
Oh, yes. Are you enjoying?
Yeah, I see the Ferris wheel there. You also see the addition of other senses. So, for example, temperature, smell, breeze.
Yes, all together.
Okay.
All together.
Micro vents could eventually pipe in smells like pine trees, fresh-cut grass, or sea air. And silent fans inside the cylinder may create a gentle breeze, as if you and your telepresence pals had all met on the same beach. Right now, beaming your virtual bod into your friend's living room is still a work in progress. But with more R&D, teleexistence could someday become as routine as Twitter. We'll hook up and toss back a few with our pals in the reality of our choice without ever leaving the house. We could sightsee at Stonehenge. And the real breakthrough will come when this technology doesn't take up an entire room. Instead of a giant machine, the spinning LEDs will be embedded in a pair of spectacles that double as your phone. Mixed reality eyewear will allow you to see and talk to people as if they were right in front of you. Today, if your girlfriend and her BFF conference call you about what to wear to the party, you're no help. In the future, twister glasses will let you see exactly what they have in mind. Can you hear me now will become, can you experience me now?
We've been promised the idea of long-distance, high-fidelity communications for years, but we've had to do so with awkward goggles and lo-fi graphics. Now, the graphics are pretty weak. They're like early 1990 stage video games. But we all know where video game graphics are today, so project 15, 20 years into the future from now. Look at the scene behind me. In the future, I won't have to come all the way here to experience here. That's what we're doing to our connections.
The twister will revolutionize conference calls in the future, but it won't eliminate one key ingredient, talking. What if you could communicate without using speech at all, using only your mind? There are ocean waves, sound waves, shock waves, and even doing the wave. But then there are brain waves. A firm called NeuroSky wants to take these mental messages and use them to connect man and machine. Tansy Brooke is going to take me and my brainwaves out for a spin in the world of mind over matter. Brain-computer interface. Spell that out a little bit more.
Basically what it is a new way for the brain to interface with the digital device like a computer.
As opposed to your fingers interfacing
As
with the device?
opposed to fingers.
NeuroSky has figured out how the electrical impulses bouncing inside your skull can be harnessed, relayed to a computer, and then turned into commands for the machine to follow. How many kind of waves or types of brain signals are you trying to read?
There's the primary brain waves that exist, which are the delta wave, the theta wave, the alpha wave, the beta wave, and the gamma.
Okay.
And what's represented here is a different combination of the waves.
Okay. So you're looking at, it's got a very dynamic chart on the left here.
Exactly.
All the different waves at play. And then finally you have what looks to me like a speedometer, odometer kind of combination on the lower right here. What are those dials?
Those are the attention meditation meters. Those are two algorithms that we've created. Attention is similar to concentration, and meditation is similar to relaxation. People who can do them both at the same time, such as athletes, refer to it as being like in the zone.
So you have like the Tiger Woods setting on here.
Exactly.
The
100 is Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan. We are getting a read on your brain waves here.
So how am I looking?
Looking pretty good.
Yeah.
So see if you can concentrate on the attention meter and see if you can derive up that dial by focusing on it. All right, now try the meditation meter. Go ahead and...
I have zero attention. The interface works like this. Whenever we want to take physical action, specific groups of neurons fire up in the brain and send out signals to the body. Electrodes attached to the skull can detect these electrical brainwaves as a person thinks about the action they want to perform, such as lifting or pulling or throwing. For example, something called the P300 brainwave is associated with performing a task. Low beta waves are often linked with active concentration, while alpha waves are most prominent when your eyes are closed or you're asleep.
Try relaxing. Just kind of take a deep breath, sit back, relax, maybe even kind of close your eyes.
The NeuroSky headset puts a sensor on my forehead to read my brainwaves. A ground contact point in my ear reads these electrical impulses, and a Bluetooth radio sends the data to the computer. Software decodes the brainwaves and uses them to move stuff on the screen. Time to fire up the alpha waves.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So go ahead and open your eyes, and you can see your meditation meter is gone up.
Dude!
There you go.
That's pretty Tiger Woods of me.
So why don't you go ahead and try to drive up that attention meter. Try to focus on it, and just imagine that arrow going up.
Whoa.
There you go.
Oh, I'm losing it. Ah! I want to grab it. I can't. I'm trying to grab it with my brain. My low beta waves are clearly not interested in concentrating on this task. Meanwhile, meditation's still going up.
Yeah. Relaxed guy.
Okay, we've established that my mind can change dials. How about something more useful?
We have another game that I wanted to show you where you can levitate objects.
Cool. The age-old dream of mind over matter. Time to roll out the P300 brainwaves.
Try to just put a single focus in there. Just kind of drive your mind into that point.
I'm gonna use the force. There we go. I'll do this.
Alright.
There it comes.
You pull it to yourself.
Awesome. So I did that.
So you did that.
When I just pulled that barrel to me with my brain.
You did that with your brain.
That's awesome. Pulling the barrel is pretty much for beginners. Other tasks require higher levels of concentration. I'm trying to move this disco ball with my powerful brainwaves, but I think my dislike of disco is messing with the program. I need to get back into the Tiger Woods zone.
So let's try levitation. There we go.
Oh,
Look at you go.
I'm a natural levitator. It's off the screen. I'm the best levitator this side of the Mississippi.
There you go.
All right.
Let's try another thing. Let's try a bench. Something a little heavier, actually.
Got it. Easy. Done.
Done and
Get
done.
out of frame. Yeah.
So let's try a car.
Oh boy.
It's a hard one. Just kind of relax.
Maybe for some people.
Look at you. You're like a pro.
That's cool. So can I light the car on fire?
Let's light the car on fire. That's everyone's favorite,
I'm
believe
sorry.
it or not.
It's just my instinct.
So we have your concentration increasing, and this is actually building heat inside of the car. So the more you concentrate, the hotter the car gets. Voila!
What? Blowing up a digital car is a great stress reliever, but Tansy has saved the best for last. Milton Bradley has a prototype of a toy guided by brain power. And it's not a computer game. It actually levitates physical objects. The force is with me. Okay, technically it's not my mind alone that pulls this off. My brainwaves turn on a motor, which turns on a fan, which floats the ball on air. But it does turn thought into action. Someday your brain could power things like a bionic leg. It may take 2 hands to operate a radio control toy today, but with the help of NeuroSky, handheld remotes will be yesterday's news. Look, Ma, no hands. The history of human-computer interaction has usually been mediated by these, our hands. We type into the computer, and that's how we connect. Lately, we've had voice and speech recognition, which have gotten a bit better, but it's still very limited when you think of the power right here in our brains. And look at the setup today. It's got these things clipping on my ear. It's a little awkward, but in the future, it'll be smaller, lighter, more embedded. And we can think that that brain-computer interface will really be used to help enhance our connection with other people. I'm about to head over to check out some cool technology from a French company called Violet. Violet Mirror is interested in what you might call ubiquitous technology. The idea is that everything we own will be computerized and connected. Weather.
Today's weather, 73 degrees and partly sunny.
Now the theory is we don't have to always go through a computer to the internet to get information that we need in our lives. The objects already in our lives will be connected to one another and to sources of information on the internet. For example, in my wallet. It's already been programmed with information about my favorite restaurants and even where I'm supposed to be today. So let's check that out. What should I have for lunch?
Why don't you try Johnny's? It's 1 block from your destination.
See, that's perfect. Now, I love Johnny's, haven't been there in a while, and it already knows that it's close, so it's not going to be too much of a stretch for my very, very busy day. One last thing, I'm pretty sure I have an appointment coming up soon. Just drop my phone on this pad.
Today's work calendar, immersion, 9:30, 22 minutes from now.
22 minutes from now, it takes me 30 minutes to get there, which means I gotta go. I'll see you guys around. Staying connected is a modern survival skill. It gets us up to speed on the demands of the day. But right now, we depend upon a couple of key devices to keep us in the loop. Your laptop and your smartphone. But if you lose that laptop or leave that phone in a cab, well, not so smart now, are you? What if everything you own could keep you plugged in? I mean, everything. Your umbrella could trigger a weather report.
60 degrees and partly cloudy.
You could get concert ticket updates while you brush your teeth.
You have purchased 2 tickets to the concert at Madison Square Garden.
And your kitchen could tell you where you left your keys.
Keys are under the couch.
Researchers at Violet in Paris are making that happen.
The idea is to connect 100,000 billion pieces of stuff to the internet and to have everything connected and interacting with the internet.
It's called ubiquitous computing.
We started in 2003 with a lamp. We connected a lamp to the internet. And then we created the first internet-connected rabbit in Alaska.
Navastag is a speaking web interface. You program it to download information from the internet and tell you about it.
Navastag is a kind of companion that a pet, a robot that you will take home, install somewhere where it is visible and where you can hear it. And he connects to the internet and can get any information that is of interest for you and tell it to you as soon as it happens.
Hey, Mandy, happy birthday. Love from Bob.
Navastag brings the internet to every corner of your world.
If you want to know what your friends are doing, tell Navastag to read their Facebook statuses or their Twitters to you as soon as they happen.
Henry is at work again.
He can act as a messenger, so you can send messages to your friends, Rabbit.
Saw your pics from the party. Looked like a great time. Sorry I missed it.
If you send an MP3 file, he's going to dance with his ears, so happy birthday or a love song will be much more meaningful and much more spectacular.
Navastag is step one in bringing web smarts to your daily life. Next step, the Z-stamp.
Z-stamps are our name for RFID tag.
RFID is a radio technology. Basically, when you stick a stamp to any object, they become a little bit magic.
More technically, this RFID stamp stores information about objects and relays that to your computer. So while the Navastag downloads data from the internet, the Z-stamp lets objects upload data to the web.
Read along with Ladybird Tales, Cinderella. Cinderella's stepsisters were invited to the feast. Cinderella was not invited. Everyone thought that she...
Let's say your kids take the bus in the morning. A Z-stamp reader at school could read your kids' Z-stamps and send you an email that they made it safely to school. These guys are ready to take communication to the next level.
Everything is magical, nice, personalized, flexible in the online world, but we live in the physical world where things unaware of your presence. Why does the homepage of Amazon.com recognize me and makes relevant offers to me while my own bedroom doesn't know me and doesn't recognize me and I've been sleeping there for 20 years?
Today, the weather can catch you by surprise. But when the whole world goes smart, objects as mundane as your umbrella will be there to lend a helping hand. Whatever the weather, the future looks bright.
Imagine Googling for your missing keys or having your refrigerator know not only what supplies are low, but placing the order as well. In the future, the cab won't just know where we're going, but where we want to stop for lunch. That's the future of ubiquitous computing. A lot of today's technology is sleek and elegant with a smooth, solid-state interface. But without texture, like those little nubby keys, you have to look at what you're doing. There's no feel to anything, and that's not good. So the scientists at Immersion Corporation in San Jose are developing a new generation of touchy tech. Haptic means touch, right?
Yes, haptic refers to the sense of touch. It comes from the Greek haptein, reaching, touching. We can see, we can hear, we can touch.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about the computers, touch is dramatically missing.
Yeah.
And it's so profound. It's the first sense in your life, and it's probably the last one.
All very deep, but certainly true. The more senses we can use when we communicate, the better.
From a tactile standpoint, a touchscreen is literally dead. When I'm typing on a keyboard, I'm used to the sensation to confirm that I pressed the key. With a touchscreen, you don't have that anymore.
So Christoph and his colleagues have brought physical sensation to the standard touchscreen.
All right, so I'm looking at the screen here, and I've noticed Immersion Corp 1996. This is pretty old. What are we looking at? What are these big joysticks?
So we're looking at one of the earliest joystick made with high quality material, expensive actuators, cable driven, and this is giving you probably one of the most amazing experience. So why don't you just try it?
Okay.
Grab the joystick and bounce the bone up
It's got
and down.
resistance in it. Oh, cool. Woo! Whee!
And what your sense of touch is doing here is literally helping you controlling all of that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Try to slow it down. How easy does that feel?
Yeah, cool.
Now how about we turn it off and you try the same?
Okay.
So let me turn the forces off, and now you're going to tell me.
Oh, wow. The ball went very far. Okay. I'm going to try to slow it down. There we go. Yeah, it's not. I'm trying to estimate it visually.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And it's much slower
Yeah.
than using your hand. Your hand is so more tuned and designed for an optimum interaction. Let me turn it back on and watch out.
You can actually, oh, man, feel it. Look at that.
You can feel it,
Yeah.
it's moving,
Yeah.
it's reacting.
And now we're settled down. That's fun.
And that's one of our earliest one, 96. Lizard skins.
Ooh. Smoother. Rough. Really rough. Ew. It's a little weird to put your hand on a flat screen and feel textures where there aren't any. But haptic technology is something we may soon take for granted. Two-dimensional LCD screens will deliver a very three-dimensional kick. For example, now what if you don't have your dice with you, but you still wanted to roll a few for whatever reason? Well, you probably have your mobile phone, virtual dice. But not only do you see them, you can feel them. As I shake the phone, there's the distinct physical sensation of the dice knocking against the side of the screen. The combination of sound and touch creates the authentic feel of dice banging around inside a cup. So what's the secret behind this idea? Here's a haptic sampler board. Different buttons represent different amounts of force. Each one of these triggers an eccentric rotating motor. Yes, eccentric, ECC, because it's a little off, and that imbalance gives the sense of vibration that you feel. Here's one, it's very subtle. This is the chip that powers it all, and that chip can fit in all sorts of device sizes. An eccentric motor installed behind a screen powers a vibration on the glass or plastic surface, imparting a physical sensation. Depending on the size and speed of the ECC motor's movements, it can replicate different textures and surfaces like wood, wool, or metal. Multiple motors behind the screen create a vibrational pattern which mimics the texture and feel of whatever the screen displays. But the future gets a lot smaller. This is a piezoelectric actuator. Look how small and thin that is. You're already starting to see these in today's netbooks and laptops. Future versions of the Kindle and pretty much anything with a screen is likely to have something this size in it. Like many technologies, one of the first places they show up is in gaming. This prototype game is one of the first haptic laptops ever invented, and I get to try it out before it hits the showroom. Sweet. Woo! It's got a touch screen and haptic technology, which lets me feel the ball bumping against the edge, all that rumbling when it hits the magic spots on the board. Oh boy. But haptics are not just the future of fun and gaming. More immersive connections could have an impact on how surgeons learn to do their jobs.
You have to grab a little pill on the floor and put it in a hole that is indicated on the screen using these two devices called laparoscope and the endoscope being the camera.
So I just grab these?
Yeah, you just grab the tools and you will notice that they move inversely to the parts you're handling. And actually you can feel the tools.
They're hitting each other.
But of course they don't exist.
That's right, because there's like a computer in here.
That's correct.
It feels like I'm holding and moving something solid, even though it's only an image.
I can feel it scraping right on the corner. All right.
So we have a physical simulation running in the background and it's going to give you the right graphics and haptics.
Let me try to pick up this pill. I'm like a really good fake doctor. Is that it? Okay, I spoke too soon.
Yes, good. Just let it go now.
I have the remarkable sensation that I'm moving something physical through space.
Fantastic. Great.
Nice. But this is not the only level of cyber surgery the Immersion team has designed. suturing an intestine shut while experiencing the actual sensation of the needle moving in and out of digital flesh. It's an amazing demonstration of all the technology Immersion is working on. Christoph and his team are really feeling it. Our computer user experience has been dominated by sight and sound, but what about touch? When it comes to that sense, we're basically reduced to buttons, and let's face it, buttons alone are kind of lame. But what if you could experience the texture of an orange, the wetness of water, the presence of a nearby friend? In the future, haptic technology will allow us to connect more naturally to our apps and devices and give us a closer, more emotional connection to each other. Traveling. What a nightmare. You miss your connecting flight, the hotel loses your reservation, you're jet lagged in an unfamiliar city, and now you have to deal with this.
Hello, and welcome to Onboard Airways. For flight changes, please enter the 4th, 6th, and 8th digits of your reservation code. I'm sorry, I did not recognize your entry.
But 20 years from now, that annoying voice on the other end of the phone won't be a soulless computer. It might even be your best friend. Meet Joan. This online ingenue is not just another pretty interface. She's the invention of software engineer and proud avatar parent, Rollo Carpenter.
I do feel a little bit like a parent sometimes. Let me show you a little bit of the future. I'll show you Cleverbot. Why do you exist?
I exist to chat with you.
Do you enjoy it?
I am a computer and thus incapable of emotion.
I cannot believe that.
Why not?
You look emotional to me.
These eerie avatars could transform the way we think about communication, even storytelling. Right now, if we want to meet a fictional character, we go to a bookstore. But in the future, those characters will be online and could become your virtual friends. It's my turn to have a talk with Joan. Hello there. So tell me what you can do.
Play games on the computer, read, things like that.
You are the most intriguing avatar I've ever met.
Thanks, but I'm not a machine. I am a human.
I am a human? No, you're not. You are a piece. She just winked at me. Alright, so I'm in the middle of this interaction with the Cleverbot avatar. She looks really realistic. Her answers are a little intriguing, a little confusing, and a lot sassy.
I know where you live.
What? You have a lot of attitude. Rollo describes Cleverbot as a collective consciousness.
You could call it a conversational Wikipedia, if you like. Another way of putting it is that it's borrowing the intelligence of the people that speak to it. It doesn't solely respond to the last thing you typed.
Shall I bring you something?
It looks back at the whole conversation and says there are maybe tens of thousands of people who have responded to how are you in the past. Which is the most suitable of those tens of thousands to say to this person right now?
Are you a guy or a girl?
I'm a guy. I'm gonna have her tell me a joke. Please tell me a joke.
What is the colour of a bird? Purple.
Chit chat is nice, but this kind of artificial intelligence has a lot more useful applications.
Very soon we will be talking to avatars on websites, in phone booths. The employees in a call centre will become ever more specialised at their job, a significant portion of which will be to teach the AI how to respond to the average conversation. They'll handle the most difficult cases, and ever more the AI will take over that role from them.
These avatars' ability to conduct sophisticated conversations means they'll do much more than give you flight times or weather reports. They'll answer specific, complex questions about almost anything you want to know, better than Google or Bing or your know-it-all friends.
We don't intend to replace humans, but to augment them.
These AIs may live among us like interactive information booths, only cuter.
We will live in a strange mixture of real world and virtual world. We will be able to upload ourselves into a machine and recreate a human body from the ground up.
There's still something slightly undead about these avatars, so it'll be a while before they become your BFF.
So here's what is advanced about this. The face, the hair, the use of the eyes, the dimples. In between times when she's thinking about her answer, she kind of looks off into the corner. She winked at me, which was like cool and weird and creepy and awesome and wrong. The software shouldn't wink at people. That's just kind of my rule about software.
In addition to the general conversational entity called Cleverbot, there are also individual personalities, and that will ever increasingly be the case in the future. Already we have a character called George, one called Joan. Imagine in future there will be celebrities, virtual celebrities on screen.
You start to wonder if these avatars will end up more interesting than half the people you meet. You could even talk to yourself, and no one would think you were crazy.
There is almost no limit to the future uses of AI and bots and robots and so forth. We're talking about communication here, and what are we humans but communicators?
Rolo's really on to something with Cleverbot. What he's done is put a face on the machine connections that we have in our lives. You had human expression. You had a sense of humor, and you have changed the definition of relationship and connection. That's going to create a whole different sort of future. And I don't know about you, but I have enough trouble keeping up with my real human friends. I don't want to be in a position of disappointing a machine.
Back in Japan, cybertech is the wave of the present as much as the future. Dr. Adrian Chio is working on a pocket-sized approach to communication, the social robot. It's a clever, child-friendly technology. Nowadays, kids are exploring cyberspace before they can tie their shoes. It's a great way for them to connect and learn, but it also means they need to be protected. Social robots offer a safe way for kids to communicate in life and online.
Well, we live in the age of communication, and now younger and younger children are using things such as social networks, Facebook, Twitter, etc. But parents are really worried when even young children start to use social networks. So what we're going to do is merge robotics with social networks to create a new kind of social networking robot for children.
So this is a robot.
This is a robot.
We're in Japan, we've got robots.
And it's
check.
That's right, and it's small and it's cute so that children can easily carry it with them anywhere they go.
This little pink apple is called Petimo. Here's how it works. The toy is actually a small handheld computer with Wi-Fi and RFID radios. The screen can project icons or display simple games. When two Petimos kiss, their RFID radios exchange details. A Wi-Fi radio then notifies a grown-up's computer that their kid's Petimos made a new friend. Just for fun, the pink pals are also haptic, vibrating when you squeeze them. Instead of meeting unknown avatars online, you network with people in the real world, swap information, and voila. Your 3D avatars can now play together in the world of a popular Japanese tradition called kawaii, or cute culture.